Hi, this video will show you how to use the basic SharePoint search features in Office 365. So here we are inside a SharePoint site in Office 365, and we are going to learn how to search. Now the first thing you might want to do if you were at a site would be to search that site for something you were looking for. So in this case, we're going to search the video demo site, and we're going to search it to see if there is a strategic plan on this site. And so we put it in and hit enter, and the answer is no. None of those documents that we saw there on the site had the words strategic plan in them. So we might want to broaden this because we believe that somewhere in the collection of SharePoint sites that we have in Office 365 there is something about strategic plan. And so we click on this little black triangle and we search for everything. And we come to the main results page and we see that yes, in fact, there are a great number of documents using strategic plan. In fact, about 120 results. That's more than we were looking for, really, in this case, and so we want to figure out how to narrow our search. But let's take a look at this rather interesting results page first and see some of the things that are available here. First of all, we do get a list of things that have strategic plan in their title or in their text. And every time it's used, it's highlighted. So we see in bold, we see the usage of strategic plan down in a number of ways. When we hover over the title of a document, we get a picture of what the document is. So we see that this one is a template for filling out items in a strategic plan, and this one is a Excel spreadsheet for a timeline for a strategic plan, and this one is a proposal. So we can get these all previewed here so that we can get an idea of what they are without having to open up the document. So that's very handy. We see that we can search for everything, people, conversations, and videos. We'll get back to that in a little while. Over here we see that we can filter on a number of dimensions. We can do it on the basis of date modified. Instead of having the date modified in a table the way you're used to in Windows, it's as a slider. So right now it's for all documents. We can narrow that to just 1 year ago. And if we narrow it further, there will be almost no documents because everything that is in this collection is more than 1 month old, which is the next button down there. So we see that we have that option. We can search by author, and so for example, if I just want the ones by me, I could filter by Tim Haight. That reduces the number of documents from the 120 that we saw before down to about 12. And so that actually was very helpful. Is it the ones that I'm looking for? What I'm actually looking for is some strategic plan interview results, and I'm not finding them. So I'm going to go back to all and see if I can put in strategic plan interview. And in fact, that gives me a lot of the strategic plan interview documents that I was looking for. And in fact, there are about 75 that have strategic plan and interview in them. When you add an additional keyword to the search, it is assumed to be an and. And so this gives you documents that have strategic and plan and interview in the document. You can also narrow the search by result kind. Now here you notice we have a Word document, we have an Excel document. If we just want the Word documents, we can click on Word, and that will narrow the search just down to the Word documents, which takes it down from 75 to about 57. So that's a good way to narrow your search as well. So we can narrow it by author, by type of document, and if we can see we have a lot of document types to choose from if we look at all of the ones in the search, and we can do it by date. Up here we have everything, which is what we're searching on. This means everything in the site collection. So it goes over all the sites to which you have the rights in the site collection. If you want to search for people, There are no people called strategic plan interview, but if you wanted to search for a person in your contacts, you could just put in the person's name and click on people. If you're using Yammer or the newsfeed feature, which has conversation, you can find them there. If you're looking for videos, those would be here. So those are other ways that you can narrow your search. It is possible from this point also to broaden the search by saying, for example, you could say strategic or plan and use a Boolean search, and so all of the Boolean commands are there. And this should broaden the search a little bit. In fact, in this case, it brings it up to about 208 results, so it did in fact broaden it. And so you have the and or the or the not that you can use to search on documents in that way. So those are some of the basic ways that you can search. Now, again, what will happen is when you go to your sites, so here we go back up to the top to the sites, and go to the top site, you will get something that says search this site on a site. When you put in a term, it will take you to a result page for just searching that site. And then if you want to search for everything, you go on the little triangle, you go to everything. And this makes the search page look a little bit different. It gives you these choices up at the top. And so this results page is the best place to search from because it has all of these options available. So those are some basic ways in which you can search. And it's been a pleasure to show them to you. For a lot more information about how to use Office 365 in general and also Office 2013, check out the CGNET Office 365 Resource Center at the URL below.